Hey there guys, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. I'm your host, Emil. Today I am going to be speaking with the CEO of Indwe, and Indwe is a South African insurance company, and it began as Hoskins Insurance in the early 1900s, expanded with African Rainbow Capital in 2006, Lime Street Risk in 2019, and Santam in 2021. The company now offers trusted advice and financial security, backed by South Africa's largest non-life insurance group. And the CEO in question is Peter Olyott. Peter is a dynamic thinker with expertise in abstract thinking, product research, and leadership. He is a strategic thinker in the insurance industry, specializing in corporate risk and insurance programs, new business development, and strategy implementations. Peter, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming on. First of all, it's a real great pleasure to have you here. Now, the one thing I want to know is, what specific insurance products and services does Indwe Risk Service offer, and how do they differ from themselves from competitors in South African markets? I mean, in South Africa, we have a lot of insurance out there, like there's OUTsurance, Discovery Insurance. Bonitas, I think, also does it as well. So there's quite a bit out there. So what do you guys do differently?
I would think, first of all, our focus is on rendering the correct advice and providing the correct solutions. So my sort of pay away line is, if you're never going to claim, always go for the cheapest solution. But, in the past sort of 4 or 5 years, starting from COVID, we've had riots, we've had floods, we've now got grid failure. Hopefully soon we won't have water failure. And these are all things that have occurred in South African economy, and our solutions have had to come to the fore, and I can honestly say that we've succeeded. So all of our major clients, their claims have been paid and they're back in business, which is the ultimate aim of what we do. I think to your question of what it is we do, Indwe, the company that I'm CEO of, has two distinct arms. One is the risk services, which is for businesses and individuals, and that's things like insuring your buildings and your home and your cars, etc. And the other part of it is the Indwe Financial Services, which gives you life, investments, retirement funding, healthcare. So we literally are able to provide the full spectrum from A to Z, depending on what people require. Our standpoint of departure is we tailor solutions for the individual's requirements. So you don't buy off-the-shelf solutions. We're not in that market. We know that there are lots of competitors. We also have focused our offering on people who understand what risk is about. And so a big part of what we do is we try to educate our clients.
Before I carry on talking more about Indwe, I just want to talk a little bit about you. So when I was doing my research about you, it says that you've been in the industry field for quite some time. And in my mind, how does one, I guess, in the industry field actually become a CEO of an industry institute, I could say, in other words, and what were the challenges?
I think the one big thing is it takes some time. So I was in the industry for at least 10 years before I started to climb the ranks. And, lots of people thought I was an overnight success because I was quite young when I started to get onto the board of certain companies. But 10 years is not quick by today's standards. I think some of the youngsters today would like to get there in 2 or 3 years. But the advantage of taking that time is you get to know all elements of the business. And until you've handled a major claim, then the rest of it, the advice is theoretical. Once you've provided advice and you've had to deal with the consequences, it does sharpen your skills from an advice point of view.
Now, could you provide the insights of Indwe's approach to risk management and how they tailor their solutions to meet unique and individual clients of business? I mean, everyone has their own unique issues going on. I mean, let's take Eskom, for example. I think it is quite a unique situation that there are solutions for there, but there's also a lot of risk in those.
Yeah, so I think if you had asked me 25, 30 years ago what the risk environment looks like, it was fairly straightforward. And as with everything today, it's become exponentially more complex because it's so integrated. So from technology is great because you can access so many things. But by that very aspect, it creates risk. So we've had something called cyber risk, which is quite big in our industry now. Cyber fraud, cyber crime. It's people going into your bank accounts when you do online shopping and all those good things. So what happens is, as the world becomes more complicated and integrated, so risk becomes more complex. In the old days, it was quite simple and distinct. You worried about your car getting stolen or your house getting broken into. It's far more complex than that, because they can sit and access your bank accounts from wherever they're sitting, and it doesn't have to be in South Africa. And that's just one of the things that demonstrates how complicated risk is. The other part is where people start to work on their own, they're self-employed, they are their earning capacity. So if something happens to them, and most young people think it's not going to happen because I'm still young, but there are accidents, as an example. So we look at that whole spectrum, for the people that want to employ themselves to people who are working for corporates. Slightly different profile. Yeah.
So with that, I mean, also speaking on the whole scam thing, scamming has become more of a bigger issue now. I mean, I think last week my mom got a weird SMS saying that she got an order, click this link to view it. Even I get it sometimes. So, I mean, scamming is out there.
Yep.
And what measure does Indoor Risk Service undertake to ensure customer satisfaction and maintain long-term relationship with their clients? Because, I mean, if I'm with someone and then I get scammed and then they help me for the first run and then the second run it's kind of like on and off, I wouldn't trust them. So what do you guys do to actually keep those clients engaged?
Okay. So the good thing is most of our clients stay with us on average between 5 and 8 years. Some of our older clients have been with us for 30 years, which is quite long.
Oh, wow. That is long.
Yeah. And that's because we don't primarily sell on price. We sell on service with competitively priced, but not necessarily just the cheapest. Plus, we've partnered with someone like Santam, who's a well-known brand in the market. And I can say that our book runs well, which means it makes them money. And if it makes them money, they're more likely to want to help our clients when they have those grey claims.
Yeah.
So it's that balance of keeping all the parties happy in the relationship, and that's what we aim to do.
So in what way does Indoor demonstrate its commitment to innovation and staying ahead of the industry trends in insurance sectors in South Africa? Because I mean, with the development of AI and ChatGPT 4 coming out very soon, I mean, there's also ways where people can scam with AI now. Because I mean, recently in the States, there was an incident where someone lost their job and their livelihood because of AI.
Yeah. That's a good question, and it's my favorite one because of my background. So a bit early on in my career, before I joined Indwe, I started up a business called Create, which was the product research and development division of Alexander Forbes, where we looked and focused on creating new products, new distribution channels. I've still kept that in terms of another business I'm involved in, and that is creating new products for opportunities that will arise out of data analytics, one, and AI is the other one, Bill.
So with AI, and as you just spoke about innovation, how it's always is ever evolving, and how you also are in the whole field of innovation, along with that comes with the idea of youth. So how does Indoor Risk Service actively engage and support youth of South Africa, whether it be through means of an internship, mentorship program, or initiatives aimed at fostering entrepreneurship and or career development within the insurance industry?
Okay. We partner with Insita. We take on about 20 trainees per annum in our business. Of those 20, probably between 15 and 16 get full-time employment when they're finished. Others don't, because maybe it wasn't their primary choice, but it was nice to get some money for the period and some qualifications. So what we do is, in the year that they're with us, we provide them with full qualifications so they can go work anywhere in the insurance industry when they leave us. We generally like to take on board those who are destined for bigger things in terms of future management, and we're talking probably a 2 or 3 year program, and then within 5 years to get them into a junior management position. What I do myself is, because people come and go in the industry, the really good people I stay in touch with, and I monitor their performance outside of our company. And when the time's right, I may offer them a job to come back into the company, because sometimes you need to go look out what's going on in the world. And some of them have gone overseas, some of them have stayed in South Africa. So I personally mentor probably 4 or 5 people outside of my own company that I've stayed in touch with over the years and monitor their program. The transformation of our sector is quite crucial. And so that's been my pet subject within the FIA when I was president of the FIA. So we've created that whole transformation unit in there. And within our own business, within Indwe, we've got now 10 independent black emerging brokers, separate companies, various stages of development, and we are actively mentoring them for a 3-year period. And once they finish, they should either be standing and on their own, and then we'll bring some other partners in as well.
Before I get to the last question, I want to say the game 20 and then 15 to 16, like completing these calculations, that's actually quite impressive. I mean, good success rate. But moving on to our last one. What advice do you have for the youth out there? Because, I mean, most of the time when people do see a CEO, they see them as someone who's just always focused on financial stability, focus on work ethic, but I don't think we hear from a lot of CEOs what advice they would have for the youth and, see them for who they are.
Okay. So the advice that I would give is take every opportunity to learn as much as you can about the subject, because the one thing is there's lots of people vying for the positions, particularly when you go upwards. If you think of it as a pyramid, as you go up the pyramid, there's more and more people fighting for fewer and fewer jobs.
Yeah.
But from a career point of view, I can't honestly say that I've come across a career which is more rewarding. So in my own case, I've traveled the world. I've met global leaders, South African business leaders, some nice, some not so nice. I've been through a lot in terms of these catastrophes we've had where you personally get involved. But for me, the greatest accomplishment, I think, is to watch people I've worked with achieve success themselves. Because, most people, if you ask what was the profit 4 years ago, they can't actually remember. But if you see that you've worked with people who've gone on to achieve great things, you remember. And they don't have to stand up and say, well, I'd like to thank you every day. They know and we know. And that's really what it's about. So I think if I create successful people, then that will be my contribution to the industry, because profits are profits. If I don't give the profits, they'll fire me and appoint someone else. But if I create good people, then that's something that stays with the industry.
Yeah.
So that's my main ambition.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for that bit of advice. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends, family, and work colleagues, like I always say. And Peter, again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Okay. Thank you. Just one thing which you don't have to record, but so on Indwe's side, we've developed something called Blue Pixel. If they go into the Google site, they can take Blue Pixel. It's actually an app on which provides advice. It isn't just something which gives you quotes. It actually gives you advice. It's our first step into almost like electronic banking.
Oh, okay.
So that not many people realize it took about 10 years for electronic banking to take.
Yeah, no, it's been a while.
I was one of them that stuck to my checkbook. And now you use it, and it's like every day. So we've taken those steps on insurance. It's still probably going to take 5 to 10 years for people to get comfortable to do it themselves.
So what you're saying is sometime in the near future, we'll have electronic insurance or something like that.
And the other thing is where AI plays a role is we absorb tons of data and information, and it becomes almost impossible to remember it all. And that's where I see AI coming, because we're expected to know a lot about a lot of different subjects.
Yeah.
So if you start collecting it on an AI platform, then it enables you to press a button and you'll be able to collect everything on cyber risk, on cyber fraud, on identity theft, on all of that. That's something which we'll be interested in from an insurance advice point of view.
Well, Peter, thanks for that lost tidbit, I guess I could call it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay, thank you.